So when it comes down to covering top 5 weapons, I always tend to struggle to put a list together simply because not a lot really changes. In the most recent Season 2 Reloaded update with all of the buffs and nerfs, my list did change, and that's exactly why I'm covering this particular list. It could change based upon how good the new Season 3 weapons are, but unfortunately I haven't had a chance to really try them out. So if they end up being good, I will change this list around and post another top 5 video, but I'm not going to put off any more time. I just want to do a quick little intro. We got a couple honorable mentions, of course, so let's get into it. Starting us off here with our first honorable mention in the Striker SMG. This weapon has always felt very, very good to me since the beginning of the game. All the way back to the beta, this thing always kind of had a spot in my heart, I guess you want to call it. It felt extremely good, super low recoil, very good at longer ranges. It does have the downside of struggling to compete against faster firing SMGs at close range, but it definitely outcompetes them in the damage range categories. So I wanted to start here with an optic. This is going to be a preference. I know a lot of people like the regular iron sight or a different reflex sight in general. They added the Quarters Classic reflex, and I have been using it here on the Striker, so I wanted to feature it in the setup, of course. But you can use whatever you want here in this category. For a stock, I'm going with the Lachmann Recon series stock. This is a very important attachment in the build when it comes to lowering your recoil and hitting some longer range shots. It's going to give you a massive 25% to the gun kick control, along with 5% to the horizontal and vertical recoil control here. Like I said, a very massive attachment when it comes to this build. In this particular case, I do like to use a magazine. When it comes to all of my builds, magazines are always going to be a preference. You don't have to choose what I have. You can go with a completely different option or go with whatever the stock option may be. I would recommend at least trying out the 48 round mag here because you are playing 6v6 or sometimes even 10v10 or 12v12, and those extra bullets do come in handy. For a muzzle, I like to use the ZEM compensated flash hider. For the longer time fans of the channel, you know this is my favorite muzzle in the game because it gives you not only recoil control, but also fire aiming stability. For those who don't know, fire aiming stability is your visual recoil or visual shake on the weapon, and this attachment does a very good job of controlling that. But like I said, it does give us recoil control, 5% to the horizontal and 15% to the vertical recoil control. And our final attachment is the Strike-On Recon long barrel. That's going to give you an increase to both bullet velocity and damage range. Obviously, it's an important attachment. When I just said this thing does outcompete other SMGs when it comes to range, and it's a quite a large amount, 18% there to the damage range, bringing it up to 11.4 meters, and then 15% to the bullet velocity. This is kind of like a mini assault rifle that does have some SMG tendencies as well. So this is where you guys pause the video. If you have to, copy down all of these attachments, do whatever you want with them. Don't use it. I don't care. I know a lot of people are going to scroll all the way to number 1 and just use that, but these are some of my favorite weapons in the game. That's why I couldn't keep this off of the list. For the second honorable mention spot, I'm going with the BP50. So this is, to some people, a meta weapon. It just doesn't fall high enough on my list to consider it a top 5 weapon. I really enjoy using it. It suits my playstyle really well. It's a very aggressive style of assault rifle, but unfortunately it does have that damage range fall off where it doesn't necessarily compete with other assault rifles. Now, it is a very good small map weapon or medium map weapon, whatever you want to call it. And the build I have for you does limit the recoil, so you can take farther range fights. Now we're starting with a stock with the 4-bearer heavy stock for recoil control and gun kick control. It is going to sacrifice some aim down sight speed, but as you can see, we got 16% across the board to both gun kick and recoil control. So the pros are going to outweigh the cons here, and it is an assault rifle after all. You don't need SMG-like aim down sight speed. For a rear grip, I have the TRST IV grip tape for recoil control, gun kick control, and fire aiming stability. Like I just said, that fire aiming stability is your visual recoil, which is an important thing. You should always use that when you have the opportunity to do so. So this is not going to be as large of a scale as the stock, but it is 10% to the gun kick and 7% to the horizontal and vertical recoil control. Like I just stated with all of the magazines, take it with a grain of salt. I'm just going to give you my personal setups. We got the 45 round mag. This weapon does shoot extremely fast, and I do run out of bullets very quickly. I have seen some people say they don't need it. Feel free to not run it, but I personally do love to run the 45 round mag here. Over here to a muzzle, I have the ZEM compensated flash hider for vertical and horizontal recoil control and even more fire aiming stability. This attachment may sound like a broken record in this video. I have it on a ton of weapons, so Again, this is my favorite muzzle in the game, and I think you guys, if you haven't used it yet, definitely give it a try. I'm not going to keep going over these statistics. It gives us horizontal and vertical recoil control, and like I said, fire aiming stability. And our final attachment is the Lore 9 Heavy Barrel for bullet velocity and damage range. You'll also some smaller values towards recoil control, but the primary thing is going to be the damage range. You can see it is at a 16.1 meter effective damage range after the 15% increase. It is an assault rifle, so without this barrel, this thing is at 14 meters. You need the barrel. Just 100%, you need this barrel in order to compete with it as an assault rifle. If you build it out like an SMG, sure, you don't need that, but it is an assault rifle after all. Once again, there's all of your attachments on the screen. Pause the video, copy them down. Doesn't fall in my top 5 as of right now, but still no slouch nonetheless. For the first time ever in a top 5 weapon list, I have the Taq Eradicator in LMG. You guys know, if you've been a fan of the channel for many years, LMGs are not my cup of tea, but how I build out the Taq Eradicator is like an assault rifle, a very good long-range assault rifle. You can't necessarily build it out extremely fast, but it does have a lot of tendencies that treat it like an assault rifle overall. So that's why it's making the top 5, one of my most used weapons in the game, when you consider that this weapon came out in mid-season 1. Starting us off here with a rear grip with the FSS Combat Grip. This is going to be one of those attachments that help you hit your shots at long range. The entire build is kind of built on this premise of recoil control. So we got 10% to the gun kick and 7% to the horizontal and vertical recoil control here. Now we have the attachment that basically turns it into an assault rifle. We have the 45 round mag. It's going to increase your movement. You can see with the 3 ticks there to movement and aim down sight speed, also sprint to fire speed and reload quickness. I will hide my screen so you can see all that's being gained. I don't really need to cover it because you can visually see it, but you can see exactly why this is an important attachment and why it turns it into an assault rifle. Over here to an underbarrel, I like to use the Bruen Heavy Support Grip because it gives us gun kick control, aiming idle sway, horizontal recoil control, and fire aiming stability. This is a great attachment for your farther range fights as a whole, because not only are we gaining that gun kick and recoil control, but also fire aiming stability. When you use this thing, you'll realize how steady it is. You got 10% to the gun kick, 12% to the horizontal recoil control, and then of course, fire aiming stability. For the muzzle, I already said it. I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I don't need to cover it. Vertical and horizontal recoil control and fire aiming stability. When you match this muzzle up with that underbarrel, this thing shoots super, super straight. So match those up. Definitely one you want to try out. And for our barrel option here, we have the Conquer 70 long barrel. That's going to increase your bullet velocity and damage range. Pretty self-explanatory attachment overall, bringing it up 25% to the damage range, 30% to the bullet velocity. You can shoot across the map with this thing and have it kill in the same amount of bullets. And it's extremely easy to hit shots with, especially after all of the recoil type attachments. This thing's an absolute laser beam. There's all your attachments once again. I don't really need to talk about it. Pause the video, copy them down. I 100% think you guys need to try this thing out. If you're not a fan of LMGs, build it out like this and it's going to feel exactly like an assault rifle. In the number 4 spot, the SVA 545. This thing has caught a ton of buffs and people don't realize how good this thing is. It 100% competes in the assault rifle meta, right up there with the MCW. This one is going to be better at close range and medium range, where the MCW will outgun it at long range. It still has virtually no recoil, a crazy fire rate, and it's just a blast to use on the map overall. I'm surprised more people don't realize this weapon has caught a ton of buffs over the last couple seasons. Getting us started here with an optic with the JAK glassless optic. That's going to give us fire aiming stability, and it's just a normal reflex sight. As always, it is going to be a preference, but I do really like this attachment on this weapon. For a rear grip, I have the Demo 650 grip for fire aiming stability, gun kick control, and recoil control. It is going to help you with your farther range fights. Like I said, the MCW still outguns it, but this is going to give you a chance in that particular case because of how much is being controlled. 10% to the gun kick, 7% to the horizontal and vertical recoil controls. Over here to an underbarrel, we have the Bruen Heavy Support Grip. Once again, it's, I already talked about it. It's that fire aiming stability that's really going to control your visual shake, along with the gun kick control and horizontal recoil control. Visual recoil is extremely easy to control whether you're doing it or not. Horizontal, however, is super unpredictable and it's not something that's easy to control. So that's why the Bruen Heavy Support Grip makes a lot of appearances here on the channel. 10% to the gun kick, 12% to the horizontal recoil control, and of course that fire aiming stability I was just talking about. And broken record, Zem compensator. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I did say it's my most used and favorite muzzle. Vertical, horizontal recoil control, fire aiming stability, just put it on. So hi, editing salty here. Kind of had a little brain fart while doing the SVA 545 here, and I forgot to say that I run the 45 round mag. As always, it is a preference if you guys want to take off the magazine and go with the stock or go with something else entirely. That's completely okay. But again, just a little brain fart. So if you guys are trying to copy this setup down, just know I use the 45 round mag. Once again, there's all of your attachments. Make sure you guys copy this one down. I know this one probably put people for a loop thinking this guy's crazy, but you got to try it. And trust me, one of the best weapons in the game. Clearly, it's at number 4. All right, people might be pissed off at me for covering this because a lot of Timmies haven't realized how good the Haymaker is. And not just the Haymaker, the Conversion Kit. Basically turns it into a full auto shotgun with 60 bullets in a drum magazine that you have a good damage range with and an insane spread. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just hoping it gets nerfed. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just going to let the attachments do its thing. So the first attachment you guys need to put on is the JAK Mag Lift Kit. You can see the 3 ticks towards the fire rate, magazine ammo capacity, damage range, recoil control. It does decrease the damage, but I mean, the fire rate is increased 100% to 500 rounds per minute. So I've talked about this in a video already. Just because the damage lower, this thing still kills quicker, in my opinion. This thing is a joke, and I'm surprised people aren't complaining about it. It may not be a meta in Warzone as far as I know, but in multiplayer, this thing absolutely rocks the small range maps. For a rear grip, you want the Molten Assault Grip to increase your sprint to fire speed. The gun kick control and recoil control really aren't a big deal. You're not going to be aiming down the sights with this weapon, so you're just going to be hip firing, but sprint to fire speed is an important part of shotguns, and it increases it by 9% here. For an underbarrel, you're going to want the Bruen Bastion Grip. As I just stated, you're not going to be aiming down the sights with this weapon, so you're going to need to increase your hip fire, and this does a lot. 42% to the hip fire spread min, 26% to the hip fire spread max. It does touch on the tac stance there. I don't chuck it in tac stance. I just run down the map and spray down a lane. That's all you need to do, especially with this type of hip fire accuracy. Speaking of hip fire accuracy, it gets even better. The Crown Breaker Choke. Combine this with the underbarrel, and the spread is so tight. I was going to say something sexual. I thought twice. We're not going to go there. 61% to the hip fire spread min, 17% to the max, and it even helps with your shotgun spread, which is your pellets, of course, 39%. If you don't understand statistics, it's just say when you combine the muzzle and the underbarrel, this thing is broken. Now, the last thing we needed to do is chuck on a barrel to increase the damage range, and the Imperator long barrel is the only one that does so. So it is your best option, increasing it an extra 34%. It's just broken. I would put it at first, but of course it doesn't have long range capabilities, so there's no way it can be a #1 weapon if it can't take close range, medium range, and long range fights. I'm going to regret this, I think, but there's all the attachments on the screen. Pause the video, copy it down, go down to the comment section, tell me I'm stupid for spreading this around, but again, I'm just kind of hoping it gets nerfed, and hopefully this gets enough attention. So at number 2, we have the Rival 9. This is something that didn't change. This is what I was talking about in the beginning of the video when I said not much has changed as far as the metas in the top 5s. Yeah, this one didn't move. It's the best SMG in the game, good at close range, medium range, and occasionally even long range fights. It's built out for maximum aggression while also controlling a lot of recoil control. It's basically the pro Rival 9 setup. Starting us off here with the MTZ Marauder stock. I've seen some people play around with the stocks like the Close Quarters, the Bruen Flash. The Marauder is your best option. It doesn't technically give you recoil control, but it does give you gun kick control and fire aiming stability. We've talked a ton about fire aiming stability in this video, and it is very important. We are getting that 10% to the gun kick, but that fire aiming stability is the primary reason you choose this stock. For the rear grip, you have the Rival Vice Assault Grip for gun kick control, even more fire aiming stability and recoil control. It's 10% to the gun kick, 7% to the horizontal and vertical recoil control. And again, fire aiming stability. Visual shake is a big part of this particular build. For an underbarrel here, we have the DR6 hand stop to increase your overall aggression, aka aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed. Again, I'm going to hide my camera here so you can see all that's being gained. The big one that I'm going to say is going to be the aim down sight speed of 11%. You can see we have an extremely snappy aim down sight speed, 170 milliseconds, and that sprint to fire speed is at 96 milliseconds as well. this is one of the reasons why it's the best SMG in the game. For a muzzle, the Purifier Muzzle Brake S. This weapon really doesn't have a large kick to the vertical recoil side of things, so all that was left to cover was the horizontal recoil control, and of course, even more fire aiming stability. And you have no sacrifice towards your damage, or I'm sorry, towards your aim down sight speed or sprint to fire speed. Losing damage range in this particular case isn't a big deal because of how aggressive you are going to be playing with this weapon. We do have an attachment, however, to increase that damage range after putting on this muzzle. And that attachment to increase the damage range is the Rival C Clear Shot Barrel. It gives you even more recoil control, bullet velocity. As you can see, we're gaining 13% to the damage range, which makes up for what we lost from the muzzle, 15% to the bullet velocity, 5% to the gun kick, and then 8% to the horizontal and vertical recoil control. Like I said, it is basically the pro build, so if you've seen a pro video or a CDL game, this is the Rival class they're using. And for the second to last time in this video, here's all of your attachments on the screen. Copy them down. Number one's really not going to be surprising to anybody. Maybe one day we'll have a different number one meta, but for now, it's stayed the same. And to no one's surprise, we have the MCW. Been the number one meta since day one. They've nerfed it. Yeah, it's not gotten better. I don't know if they're ever going to nerf this thing more. Of course, it's not good at close range, but it's got virtually no recoil, great bullet velocity, great damage range. It's just an easy weapon to use. It's just a classic. I don't know what to say. I don't know how you would nerf this thing without making it unusable. Am I mad about it? No, but I would like to see a different weapon take over that number one meta spot. Starting us off here with an optic with the JAK Glassless Optic. I've talked about this attachment already. It gives you fire aiming stability, and it is a preference after all. If there's a different reflex sight, I know a lot of people use the Slate Reflector and MK3 Reflector on this weapon, but personally, I do like to go with the JAK Glassless Optic. It just feels really good to me. For a rear grip, the RB Claw PSL grip. Obviously, this weapon's very good at damage range and hitting shots at super long range, and this is one of those attachments that's going to help you do so with that recoil control and even more fire aiming stability on top of what we already gained from the JAK Glassless Optic. For an underbarrel, I do like the X10 Phantom 5 handstop, which is different from some people. I get aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed along with recoil control. So the recoil control isn't big. It's only 4% and 5%, but I do like to increase the speed of my weapon at 7% to the aim down sight speed and 8% to the sprint to fire speed. But I do feel like that recoil control is necessary, especially when taking super long range fights. For the final time in this video, I get to say Zem Compensated Flash Hider. I don't want to explain it. You know what it does. Fire aiming stability and recoil control. Self-explanatory. And our barrel there is going to be the 16.5-inch Cyclone long barrel. I know a lot of people have asked me questions about the other barrels. Yeah, they give you more damage range, yada, yada, yada. But this one gives you fire aiming stability. It's the same thing as the Rival. It makes the weapon super steady, and it is 2 ticks to your fire aiming stability, so this still remains to be the best barrel, in my personal opinion, and in all the pros' opinions. So if you don't trust me, at least trust all the pros, because this is still the barrel that they are running. It's going to increase your damage range by 15%, bullet velocity by 18%, and of course, that fire aiming stability. So for the final time in this video, there's all of your attachments. This is my number one weapon, and like I said, I would like to see a different one eventually take over, but for now, it's not a shocker to anybody. The MCW remains the number one weapon here in Modern Warfare 3. So I wanted to show off what operators I was running. Normally I would have some like snarky comments here or something like that, but I want you guys to go down in the comment section and let me know what operators are you guys running here in Modern Warfare 3. I'm personally not a fan of those super flashy, colorful ones, but I am a big fan of the two of them running Laswell and Carries. I'm hoping we get some more. I'm out there for outlandish stuff. You know what I mean? But I like these classic. These aren't milsim in my opinion, but just basic. Go down in the comment section. Let me know. Let me know if you're running the bunny rabbit or the dude with the halo. I just feel like this is something I needed to ask because people actually ask me what operators I'm running. So if you guys were curious, here they are. If you guys have any other class setups that you guys want me to try, or you think I missed out on my top 5, make sure you guys go down in the comment section. Give me your, what weapon I missed. Give me the setup for it so I can go into game and give it a try. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button for me. We got a lot of content coming here in season 3. And again, I would really appreciate the like and you hitting the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.